Alright guys, this lesson I'm going to go ahead and show you how to find the center of an eyeball. So when you go ahead and make your joint, it's perfectly centered. Now, eyeballs are typically, they have two models. You're going to have an outer model that's like a perfect sphere, kind of. And then you're going to have one inside, which is like the cornea type of eyeball. Every production, every mesh, and every character is going to be different depending on the studio. But this is the one that I've seen the most. So how to go about to find the actual center of this guy. So the process that I do, which is very quite simple, I just go ahead and hold down spacebar, go to right view, press F to frame it onto my viewport. And the only thing I look for, because I know the center is not going to be here, which is like kind of like half and half around here since this is cut, the actual center of the eyeball per se, in order for it to rotate properly, would be the longest line there is. So I already know this line will be the perfect center for my eyeball. Even though it's cut here and cut here, it should be like around here, like the actual center. But the perfect center would be this edge right here. So you're just going to go ahead and look for the longest edge out of all of them. I'm going to go ahead and go to perspective view again. And the process I do pretty much is I go ahead and hold down command right click mouse button, go to two vertices, and then I just simply make a cluster. Now it's going to be the same thing for this guy, so go to edge and gonna go ahead and see, press spacebar, go to left view instead, press F, and this is the longest, so hold the two vertices with command right click, go to deform and cluster, and hold down spacebar, go to perspective view. Now my camera tilted, so like I showed you guys in another lesson, I'm just going to click the perspective view camera here, zero out all the rotates, just so my viewport's good to go again. Now the process I do after this, you can simply, first of all, you can delete this left camera. Since it's not one of the normal cameras, it does pop up there, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. It's not going to actually delete the camera, it's just going to delete it from the outliner. Now all I'm going to do is select the cluster, go to attribute editor, go to the actual handle, and then go to pivots, display rotate pivot, and go to this pivot and display rotate pivot. I was having a hard time to actually snap to the cluster, so the only way I was able to snap to the cluster was activating the display rotate pivot. Go to show polygons, and now all I'm going to do is go ahead and go to skeleton, create joints, hold down V, make a joint, I'm going to press Q to quit the tool, G to repeat the last tool used, hold V to snap here and make another joint. So now we got right eyeball underscore JNT. I'm going to press Control A or Command A to then Control C or Command C in order to copy it, and then paste it here for the other eyeball. Type in left instead. Now you can go ahead and delete the clusters because they're just replacements only. The next process I do is go to create NURBS primitive circle. Now we're going to snap this guy over here, rotate him 90 degrees, and scale it a bit. I'm going to show polygons just to see if it's like a good enough scale for it. Yeah, that would be perfect. So I'm going to show polygons again, Command D or Control D to duplicate it and put it on the other eyeball. So I'm going to select both controllers and I'm going to move them forward a bit. Now we're going to go to modify, freeze transformations, edit, delete by type history. We're going to duplicate this guy, kind of have it halfway in order to scale it like so. Scale it up this way. I can go ahead and move both controllers at the same time. I'm going to hold down right mouse button, go to control vertex. It's just how I showed you guys in another much older video of how to actually make an eye rig. But just in case you missed that, and I'm going to do the full process here. Again, I'm going to just freeze transforms, delete history, just like so. Now I'm going to name this right underscore eyeball underscore CTL. I'll select that, copy, paste it here for left, and then I'm going to type in main for the bit controller. Select both little controllers, shift click the main one, and then I'm just gonna press P. So now this controller controls both of them. Now I'm gonna go to show polygons, click this joint and click the other joint, select the meshes, and I'm going to go to skin. On bind skin option box, I'm gonna click 1 so they don't have like any smoothing between the joints. It's just full influence for that joint. Click apply. So now when this joint moves this eyeball, this joint moves, it moves the other eyeball. But just a few little steps more. I'm gonna select this controller, select the joint that is corresponding for that controller, go to constraint aim, then I'm going to select the other controller, shift select the new joint, press G to do the same tool we just did. Now whenever we go ahead and move this controller, it's going to move the eyeballs, and as well you can go ahead and move them independently if you select one of the small controls. And that is exactly how you do an eyeball rig, and that's exactly how you find the actual sensor in order to rotate these guys properly. As you see, no matter where they move, they're perfectly in their little spherical position, and that's how you go about finding the center of an eyeball. See you guys in the next lesson.